We are now live, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening and welcome everyone to the first standards meeting of the new year, and welcome to those who have sat on here before, and welcome particularly to those who are new, especially I think to Councillor Monteith. I hope everyone has the paperwork. Apologies for absence, please.
Apologies for absence have been received from Councillor Smith and also Paul Beavers, Chair.
Thank you very much. If there are any interests that members wish to declare now, you may do so, or during the meeting, if you find yourself to need to declare an interest, then I encourage you to do so at that stage. It is not recommended that the public be excluded from the meeting. So we come to minutes of the meeting held on the 14th of January to be approved as a correct record. For those of us who were present at that meeting, are they a correct record, please?
They're happy to second, and yes, they are.
Thank you very much, Councillor Scullion. We move to item 5, the appointment of a deputy chair or councillor to move recommendations of the standards committee at council meetings for the 21-22 municipal year. We had an oral report from the monitoring officer, Ian Hughes. Ian, is there anything to add, please?
Thank you, Chair. There isn't. Obviously, it's a requirement that matters from Standards Committee are moved occasionally at Council. There is an item on the agenda tonight that will require that, and therefore a councillor is needed to act as Deputy Chair to do that.
Councillor Young.
Thank you, Chair. Can I nominate Councillor Jane Scullion as Deputy Chair?
Thank you. Is there somebody to second that? Yes, Councillor Swift. Are there any other nominations, please? I see none, in which case, for those of you who are allowed to vote, which is elected members, we have the proposal from Councillor Young for Councillor Scullion to act as Vice Chair. All those in favour, please show. Thank you. Any abstentions? Thank you. One abstention. Anybody voting against? None. Okay. Thank you very much.
Before you go on, could I just double check? And I'm sure it's all right because Ian ain't on a funny colour. But I take it with Councillor Scullion being on cabinet, it doesn't stop her being anything on here. Anything you notice?
No, it doesn't.
That's fine. I only wanted to check.
Yeah.
I didn't want to leave him high and dry, you know.
Thank you very much, Councillor Swift. Appointments now for members to serve on a hearings panel to determine allegations of breaches of the Code of Conduct for the year ahead. Ian, do you wish to speak to this at all?
Thank you, Chair. Hopefully members will have read the report. It's fairly self-explanatory in stating the requirement for there to be 3 borough councillors and 2 co-opted members, one of which needs to be a parish councillor. And those members will then be called upon to sit on any hearings panel that's called to determine the outcome of a complaint that has been brought and is not capable of being resolved through any other method. So just for a reminder, in the previous year, we had Councillor Mrs. Allen, Councillor Baines, Councillor Megan Swift, and Mr. Andrew Johnson sitting as members, and all of us were appointed as substitutes. It would be good if we could get a full panel appointed at this evening's hearing.
Okay. So, yes, Councillor Barnes.
Chair, just a question. Does the panel have to be one from each of the main parties, or it could be any combination?
It doesn't have to be politically balanced. I think in an ideal world, we've tried to achieve that in previous years, but it isn't essential. But it would be
Advisable.
sensible, I think, to have one from each party.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah. Councillor Scullion.
Thank you, Chair. I think when it comes to standards, it's an issue that we're all concerned with, and I think probably if it has been 111 in terms of parties, we should probably keep it like that. But we do have the difficulty that Councillor Baker isn't here this evening, so we haven't got a Liberal Democrat representative. So be guided by Mr. Hughes, I guess, in terms of what we do.
He can be nominated in his absence and offered the opportunity to sit.
That sounds very generous of us.
We're being joined by Councillor Stevens, representing parish councillors. Can you hear us, Val? Not yet. Okay, so parties, I guess, do you want to nominate somebody from each party? So is the Labour group going to recommend someone? Jane? Councillor Scullion.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to put forward Councillor Megan Swift on behalf of the Labour group.
Okay. Yes, Councillor Barnes.
I'd second that, but I'd also nominate Councillor Baker in absentia.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Thank you. Councillor Monteith, do we have a nomination from the Conservative group?
Not, excuse me, not that I'm aware of, Chair, but I'm quite happy to consider doing the role if somebody's prepared to nominate me.
Excellent.
Chair, may I nominate Councillor Monteith, please?
And I will second Councillor Monteith.
And now third Councillor Monteith.
Excellent. Okay. Councillor Monteith, I think that's the job done. Okay, so I'm just checking in now with Ian Hughes that we've now got 3 nominations, 1 from each party.
Chair, we just then need to perhaps ask Mr. Johnson if he's prepared to stand again as the independent member.
Yep.
And if we can get hold of Councillor Stevens to ask if she would be prepared to sit on the hearings panel as the parish council representative.
Okay. Andrew, are you happy to stand again?
I can confirm that I'm happy to stand again as the independent member.
Thank you very much. Councillor Stevens has disappeared. She may reappear. In her absence, I wonder if Councillor Scullion might like to nominate her.
Chair, you caught me in the act of texting her to sympathise with her technical problems and to ask if she would be prepared to stand again. I would certainly like to nominate her to be on that hearings panel.
And I second that before Councillor Barnes.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have Councillor Swift, Councillor Monteith, Councillor Baker, Andrew Johnson and Councillor Stevens, all nominated to sit on the hearings panel for the coming year.
Can I check, Chair? I'm doing checks because my memory is not very good. Can we have subs on standards?
We can't, Chair. There's no provision for substitute members to the standards committee.
I just wondered, that was all.
All those members who sit on standards can substitute for members on the hearings panel, though.
Okay, can we vote them through en bloc, Ian, or do we need to vote them through individually?
You can do en bloc, Chair. There's been no alternative nominations forward, so you have the right number of places for the right number of vacancies.
Okay. In which case, can I ask Councillor Scullion to nominate the block? And I'll ask Councillor Barnes to second it as he's not standing.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to nominate the representatives on the hearing panel as previously discussed, the 3 councillors, 1 from each party, and the 2 co-opted members.
And I will second said nominations.
Okay, all those in favour, please indicate. Good, thank you very much. Now we come to the appointment of independent persons and co-opted members to serve on the Standards Committee. Now, normally at this point in the meeting, I usually leave the room. I look to be instructed by Ian Hughes as to what he'd like me to do.
Chair, I'm going to defer to Kirsty as she will technologically put you somewhere else, I understand, as well as Kathy Beavers and Andrew Johnson.
That's fine.
To bring you back, I'll hasten to add.
Okay.
Hi, Chair. I'll just move both yourself and Kathy to a breakout room. Just bear with me.
Thank you, Kirsty.
Hmm? Oh, Val's coming back.
We're still here.
Val's coming back only to be put into a side room, yes.
Yes. Yeah. She'll take it personally, of
Yeah,
course.
I don't think, as Kathy, no, it doesn't appear to be working for me tonight.
Do you want us to turn off some stuff?
Perhaps then, Chair, if that isn't working, if you could put yourself on mute and turn off your videos. What a lovely picture. Thank you. Councillor Scullion, as Deputy Chair, this is a matter that now needs to be discussed by the remaining members of the committee to consider the reappointment of the independent chair, Hilary Barber, and the co-opted members, and the term of office to be served by them.
Thank you, Ian. Can I just check before I move the recommendation and ask for a discussion of that motion, whether there is a recommended period that we are recommending in terms of the co-opted and independent members standing?
I think, Deputy Chair, it's a matter for the committee. There is an indication nationally that it shouldn't be for any further period at this stage of the appointment process than 1 year, just because we've gone past the initial term of office that was longer than that. So the recommendation, I think, should be just for 1 year.
Thank you. That's helpful. And given extension of membership because of COVID circumstances, I think that's a sensible thing to do.
Yep.
Committee, with your permission, I would like to, and I'm conscious that Councillor Stevens is still struggling to manage the audio. We have as co-opted members the Reverend Canon Hilary Barber, our chair, Andrew Johnson as co-opted, Kathy Beavers as an independent person, Paul Beavers as an independent person, Val Stevens as a co-opted member representing parish and town councils. And we also have vacancies, but those are the names that are in front of us in this paper today. And the recommendation is that a recommendation be made to full council. This is not for the Standards Committee to make, but for the Standards Committee to advise and recommend to the full council that these people be appointed. And the term of office, if you're content with Mr. Hughes' advice, the term of office would be 1 year. I move that recommendation.
Seconded.
Thank you, Councillor Young. And open really to the committee for discussion Are there alternative ideas that people want to put forward, or is the committee largely content? Councillor Barnes.
I mean, Chair, I'm ecstatic actually at the suggestion, not just content. But in terms of the vacancies, is it possible to get a definition or a requirement for that for the other independents in terms of what we're looking for? Because I know a couple of people who might be interested, but I just want to know what remit, what they can and can't. Is there anything that would exclude them, or is it just anybody that you can pull off the street? I know I'm not talking about pulling people off the street, but are there any particular rules or eligibility criteria? That's the word I was looking for.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Mr. Hughes. I wonder if this could be the subject of a report for the next committee, actually, once we've transacted this evening's business. Thank you. That's
more than appropriate, and I'll do that. But in order to answer Councillor Barnes, it's as with councillors, it's anybody off the street, basically.
It's late.
Chair, I would like to say I asked for that, and I got it. Thank you.
It's late on a Monday evening after a long day of meetings. Thank you, Councillor Barnes and Mr. Hughes. I'm moving that recommendation, and I'm moving that list of names that's contained in the report as a block. I think, Councillor Barnes, did you second?
No, me.
Oh, it was Councillor Young, I beg your pardon. Can I see then, there's no other points that people wish to make? Can I see all those in favour with a show of hands? Thank you very much. Members who are currently blanked out, can you please rejoin the meeting if you want? Welcome back and congratulations. Thank you. I did want to say thank you very much for serving on this committee. I know it's not the most glamorous or exciting of committees, but actually your public service is really appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Scullion. Ian, does that conclude the items on the agenda?
It does, Chair, yes, that's the end of the meeting.
Hey.
Can I just ask, I wanted to check about where things are up to in terms of the new code and whether that has gone yet to full council.
It has, Chair. It went, I think it was February's council meeting for adoption for the next municipal year. So it's now in place and all members are signed up to that as the new code.
Okay. Could I ask when it's likely to go down the chain to local parish councils?
Yeah, it's something they do not have to adopt. They can continue with the existing code, but I have had some inquiries from some parish councils, and I'll be sending out the new code as a draft for them to consider in the next couple of days for there to be a consideration by those parish and town councils that wish to adopt it.
Okay. I know Hebden Royd was particularly keen to see sight of it, so that would be really good to be able to do that.
Will do.
Can I also ask, in terms of what plans there might be for the review of allowances, which we discussed at our last meeting, and what proposals there might be to have that ready for the next year? I'm
in some discussion, Chair, with members about that, and the timescale will be determined following the outcome of those discussions, which I'll conclude and then discuss with you.
Fine. Okay. Councillor Scullion.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to pay tribute to the valiant efforts that Councillor Stevens is making to try to join this meeting. I have just texted her to say that we're just about to conclude business, but I think her efforts should be recognised.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Swift.
Yeah, I don't know whether Councillor Scullion put something up on the chat earlier because it had gone when I looked properly. But Councillor Stevens did ask for some information on numbers, etc. And I know Ian hadn't forgotten because he mentioned it. Could we ask if they could come to the next meeting?
Yes, they can, Chair. That was in connection with the way in which members' allowances have developed or not over the last few years. So yes, I'll report that through to the next meeting. I was hoping to do so as part of the remuneration panel, and it might be that would be more sensible to take as part of that process, with, depending on timing, might catch the next meeting or might be the meeting after. But I'll as I said, I'll discuss with the chair as to the best time to take that.
Ian, can I also ask what provisions there is being put in place for the training of new councillors in terms of understanding expectations around the code and standards issues? That's already taken place, Chair. That was very shortly after the elections, around about the 14th, 15th of May, as part of the full induction process and package the demand of Enning sets up. So all new councillors that have been taken through the expectations under the new code of conduct. Great, thank you very much. Are there any other questions before we conclude business? Yes, Kathy.
Just wondered if I wasn't at the last meeting, but if it's possible to access a copy of the model member code of conduct to see that.
I'll make sure that's sent through, Kathy. It should be on the website as well, but I'll get that sent through to you.
Thank you.
Ian, could you send it through to all members of the committee? I think that would be useful.
Will do.
Councillor Monteith.
Yes, before you close the meeting, Chair, do we have dates for the meetings for the rest of the year?
I've not got any personally. I've not been sent any, but I imagine the council diary will have set the dates already. So again, perhaps, Kirsty, you could send those out perhaps with the next minutes.
Thank you.
Val, can you hear us yet? Doesn't look like it. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. And congratulations on your appointments, and I hope you all have a very good year.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Hello.